Hello you guys, welcome to a very exciting video. Jezzel and I are engaged. What the heck? I'm shocked, okay? I just cannot wait to tell you guys this story, how I was clueless. Like, spoiler, I was genuinely floored. I was not expecting it. In hindsight, like, so many signs were there, but like, what? We are engaged. So this is the ring. I will just start out right there. Lab diamond, 100%. No problem saying that. I don't want people to think this is a real diamond because I'm not wearing a mortgage on my hand. But today I just wanted to sit down. I want to tell you guys the full story, start to finish. I feel like, well, I'm biased, but I feel like it is just like such a funny story of how many things were going wrong in the day of this proposal, and just like how everything came together to be even better than what it like would have originally been if everything was going well. It was just proof that like, thank God I was not the one proposing, because I would have just like crumbled under the pressure. But like, Jezzel is out here just cool as a cucumber, and that is exactly why she was the one that was in charge of the proposal. As of when I'm filming this, we have been engaged for 2 weeks. I'm going to be putting footage from everything in here because Jezzel got a really wonderful videographer who got like just the most beautiful shots of the proposal and our dinner after the proposal, and then I'm gonna get to our engagement party and just like some frequently asked questions here at the end. So I wanted to start out with just thanking all of you guys so much for all the congratulations messages on Instagram and TikTok and DMs, and just like truly like the engagement was popping. Like, I could not get back to everybody. Obviously we waited a few days before we posted it publicly, just so we could soak it up with just the two of us and like with telling all of our friends and family. And it was just exciting to get to post about it a few days later and just like have like the biggest wave of excitement from other people come in. So to set the stage, you guys know we were just on a little 2-week Europe trip. So far I've only posted my first travel vlog from when we were in Italy, so I will have that linked. But I wanted to get this video up now because our Mallorca travel vlog is up next, and I just feel like it made more sense to like give all of the context for like the very brief like proposal moment you're gonna get in that travel vlog, and you'll get to like watch it, like the build up of me like having no idea. So the Mallorca travel vlog will be up next, but I need to start with when we got there. So we had kind of a rough travel day to get to Mallorca, flight delays, it's raining, you know, like the weather being forecasted for the next few days in this beautiful beach destination is just not looking the best. We get to our hotel and it's like this beautiful hotel. We were staying at the Nobis Hotel Palma, but we get there, we check in, and it is just like the loudest hotel I've ever been in, or at least like our room was. The ceilings, I took this video, I remember, I don't even know why. Like, I felt like we were living in like a mini room like made for like Snow White and her minions. The room and just like the sleeping experience was not like living up to expectations. And I'm a light sleeper, so I was just like, you know, I'm grumpy from not sleeping and I'm just complaining a lot, okay? That's an important detail for later. So we've checked into this hotel where I think we're gonna be staying for the whole 4 nights that we're in Mallorca. We booked it together, you know. What I didn't know is that Jezzel, like way back when we booked this, I guess canceled the original reservation and made a reservation for like 2 nights, and then like 1 night that's a gap off because she was surprising me where she proposed and we were gonna spend the night there, and then we were coming back for like the last night. So Jezzel had to think through so many details. The first being like coordinating with this hotel to be like, when we check in, you have to say we were there for this whole time. Like, you know, there was so much opportunity, I feel like, at so many steps throughout this for like somebody to mess it up, especially in this moment, I feel like. And so fortunately nobody did. So they, you know, told us we were there for 4 nights. We get to the room and yeah, I'm just complaining. I'm like, Jezzel, like, can you go see if we can upgrade to another room? And she's like, yeah, there's nothing. We go through our trip. We have a boat day one day that like was like half sunny but like half cloudy, just like not really what we were expecting. And like we were having a great time, like you'll see in the travel vlog. I love Mallorca even with that, but like it was just like, you know, things weren't quite like meeting the expectations of like what we thought like the trip was gonna be, I guess. So anyways, one of the days on our trip we were actually going to be touring wedding venues in Mallorca, which I'll save that for the vlog, and maybe I'll do like a TikTok or something about this as well. We just wanted to see like, is this somewhere we would want to have a destination wedding one day? And I mean, we're still up in the air with all of our wedding plans. So it's the night before the wedding tours, and Jezzel, I'm like complaining again about the hotel. So Jezzel's like, I'm gonna go check to see if like they can upgrade us again. So she goes down and she's down there for a while, and so I like text her, I'm like, are you good? And she's like, I'm doing something, like hold on. And so eventually she comes back up and she's like, I got them to refund tomorrow night, and I actually got us a room at the Belmond, which is like just like peak of my like travel bucket list of places I want to stay in Mallorca. Like the Belmond Hotel is home to the famous like El Olivo restaurant that if you're looking into Mallorca travel, you've probably seen like all over TikTok. We went a couple years ago and we loved it, and it is now like just so hard to get a reservation at, I feel like. So Jezelle's like, oh, we're just gonna stay there tomorrow because this whole, like, for months and months, despite it being like impossible to get a reservation at, and in hindsight this is like LOL, like it says online reservations open 7 days in advance. Okay, somehow we had one for months. Okay, we had one for months that Jezzel said she got through the Amex concierge, which I believed because we actually have used the Amex concierge before for like getting reservations. So I'm thinking like, oh, sick, like nice perk. Like I was like telling you guys in the DMs, like, because I had mentioned on stories that we had a reservation there. A lot of you guys were like, how did you get a reservation? And I was like, oh, the Amex concierge, like, if you should just call. Like, so sorry about that if that didn't work out for you. But we were already going to be at that property that night and we were just gonna come back to our original hotel. But then Jezzel like surprises me that she actually booked that room. And so I'm like, Jezzel, what the heck are you thinking? Like, we already splurged on a hotel in Italy. Like, now we're splurging on this for a night. But at the same time, I'm like, you know, I'm like fighting it at first, but then I'm like, okay, no, like that actually sounds really nice, like to look forward to that. So then the next morning came, we packed a small bag and set out to go to our wedding venues, and that bag would just be like our bag for the next night at the Belmond. And this is like a key element that I don't know how Jezzel would have pulled off, like if it had not worked out to like tell me about this hotel, had I not like set myself up or given her circumstances that were like perfect to like hand me this news that we're staying at this hotel. Like somehow she was gonna pack up like my things and we were just gonna like surprise stay there after she proposed to me there the next night.
Like she wasn't gonna tell me in advance we were staying there, because that would just like, you know, set off alerts that like, oh, are you proposing? You know, it also worked out better that we went early because then we got to enjoy this beautiful hotel for like so much more time than if we were just getting there at dinner time.
But you guys, I have no idea how she would have pulled that off to A, have me out of the room when she was in there to pack. I don't know how she would have brought everything correctly. Our car was parked in a garage like blocks away. I don't know how she would have gotten it there without me like noticing. She says she was just gonna put everything in her backpack that was like her camera bag, but I don't know, it seems unlikely to me. I just think that was like a meant to be detail that worked out. And something that's just like so sweet with that too is that before we left to go on our trip, Jezzel was going to like pack me a whole separate makeup bag so that I wouldn't see like mine missing on the counter like when we were going to leave, because I would certainly be like touching up my makeup and then we'd go hop in the car to go to dinner or whatever, you know? So she literally, before going out of town, because Jezzel knows nothing about makeup, took a video like going through my makeup bag of just all the makeup that I use, and she bought all of it. Like that just like made me want to cry. It's just like such a thoughtful detail. We go throughout our day, we tour wedding venues. I just think it's so funny that we were like doing something related to getting married and then like got engaged that night. And again, the forecast has been calling for rain this whole day, okay? And it was actually like kind of sunny when we were touring the wedding venues, which was nice to like see them in that light, you know? But then we were driving over to the Belmond to check in after those were complete. And as we're getting closer, you know, the sky is just like looking like doom is upon us. Like I am like, Jezzel, it's gonna rain, like look ahead, it's gonna rain. And she's like, no, like she's just always so optimistic. So we start to get close, and this hotel and where we're going for dinner is located in the city or the town called Dea in Mallorca. If you ever have the chance to go there, like it is just beautiful. But the drive to get there, it's not the worst in Mallorca. We've had much worse, but it's like kind of curvy cliffside vibes. Wouldn't you know that that is the part of our journey where it starts like monsooning. So we're like 5 miles out on these roads that we're not familiar with, and it's like pouring. There's like cars pulled over, which is then like a major hazard of like trying to get around them with like all of this like poor visibility. And I am on this drive like clenching the side of the door, like just in like panic mode. Like I'm taking Xanax, I'm like literally we're like praying like, God, please just let us live to, you know, see the end of the day. Finally we got there, and then Jezzel was like, that was like the scariest drive of my life. And I was like, me too. And the guys come rushing out with umbrellas. It's like raining to the point that we actually can't even check into our room because the property is kind of like built up the cliffside a little bit as well, and it's just like a lot of stairs. They can't take our bags up because the bags will get ruined. So we then go to check in at the hotel, and this is another key moment that could have been just like so fumbled, because as I thought, like we are there because that evening we have a reservation at El Olivo, like that famous restaurant. Spoiler alert, we don't have a reservation there at all. So we're like getting checked in, and I am only concerned with the fact that like, are we gonna have dinner there? Like, are they moving dinner inside? Like that is the only question on my mind. So I am like asking every staff member that like comes up to us, and like all of them are saying, yeah, dinner's gonna be inside. And so then I'm immediately like, are you kidding me? Like this was the highlight of these whole 2 weeks. So to like the guy checking us in, I'm like, oh, like Jezzel, like do we even want to go? Maybe we just want to cancel it. Like or can you put us on the wait list for tomorrow? Like we could just stay here through tomorrow and then like maybe go there tomorrow. Like I'm just like doing everything in my power to like fumble this plan somehow to where like somebody's gonna slip up. Fortunately, somehow everyone is playing along.
Other detail I forgot is that Jezzel actually had them make a fake reservation confirmation months ago. So that's why I'm so sure that we're eating there, is because I've seen this with my own eyes, but it was not real.
So we hang out in kind of like the lobby area, get a drink there. I like stuff my face with cheese, like to the point that I'm so full because we hadn't had lunch. That was our lunch. And I'm thinking like, well, I don't even want to go to dinner. I don't want to pay those exorbitant prices to like sit inside in this room. And so I'm like, Jezzel, we should just get room service tonight. Time goes on, a couple of hours, the sun starts coming out and we're able to get up to our room. Jezzel had booked us a suite, which is like nice to start with. I mean, I don't think there's a bad room on this property, but like they double upgraded us to like this like really nice suite. Like I think it was like the next to like nicest room. So nice of them and like made it so much more special. And we get in there and we have like a bottle of cava to pop. Jezzel, you did well. And then it was getting kind of close to 5 p.m. and Jezzel had told me like before we even went on our trip, she's like, I have a work meeting at 5 or like a meeting that she was gonna take like somewhere else. So I'm like, okay, cool. So 5 o'clock rolls around, I'm in bed, I'm like struggling to stay awake after my 2 drinks and, you know, plate of cheese. Like I'm about to just fall asleep. And so Jezzel's meeting, I guess previously if we were still at the old hotel, I guess that was the time that like somehow she was gonna ask me to leave the room and she was going to like pack up our stuff before we left for dinner. But since like we were already there, it actually worked out because it had been pouring for Jezzel to then go like figure out what the heck the plan was, because I guess during all of this and like during the rain and whatever, she'd been emailing her contact there that she had planned the proposal with, being like, what's up? Like if it's raining, what are we doing? Like can someone get in touch with me? And like they just hadn't been answering, I think because like they were scrambling behind the scenes and it was just like chaotic everywhere at the hotel. Same with like the photographer and videographer. I guess they lived like an hour and a half away and like it's raining, so they're like, are we doing this? Like should we come? Should we not? So Jezzel is just like playing it so cool, but inside it's just like, what the heck is going on? Like during her 5 o'clock meeting, she like finds the people she needs to get in touch with. I guess originally, if I can find photos of what this is, I'll put it on screen, but the original like proposal she had booked was, it's like a private dining experience, like kind of like a cliffside view, like it's like a dinner under the stars type experience. And so she was going to propose there, but since it has just monsooned, like the staff is like, we can't do it there anymore because it's like not safe to get to, it's like muddy and like we can't do it there, like it's like the ground is soaked type thing. So they're presenting like plan Bs to Jezzel that I guess were like inside and just like not the vibe that like I had in mind or her for like our engagement one day, you know? And so Jezzel is like, no, like this is not an option. Like we have to keep looking. There has to be something else. After showing her a few spots, they were walking through El Olivo, like the terrace where this outdoor restaurant is that is not going to be having dinner that evening. And she's like, can we just do it here? Like this is actually even better than like plan A. Like this is like truly like our favorite place in the world is like right here. They say yes, which is like just crazy because you could not do a proposal there if you wanted to, unless you like rented out the whole restaurant for the evening, and their event fees are like crazy for that type of thing. It was truly like the rain was meant to be that then like opened up this beautiful setting to be the proposal. And what is also so funny about like how this worked out is that literally 2 days before the proposal, I don't know why we were talking about like getting engaged or proposals. I mean, it's something we talked about a lot. Like I assumed it was coming in September. Like that's kind of what I had deduced from it. Like I did not want to be in the dark. Like I wanted to like, you know, I've been up in the gym working on my fitness, you know, like I wanted to be feeling good. Like I wanted to like know I had time to be feeling my best. I knew that like, you know, I didn't want to be getting engaged during the holidays. Like I just felt like there was like from our conversations, I'd gotten a window, right? So I'm thinking it's gonna be like September sometime when we get back in town.
And before we left for the trip, Jezzel kept making plans for like so many of our September weekends to the point that it was like clear that there was only one left. And I was like, Jezzel, you are like, I'm narrowing down when this proposal is going to be. Like, it's going to be the second weekend in September. Like, that's the only free time we have left. And like, LOL, because obviously she did it on the trip.
What is so funny is that we were having some conversation about this 2 days before the proposal. And I had said to Jezzel that my dream proposal would be at El Olivo in Mallorca, literally where she did it, which is literally a place that like she could not plan it. You know, like that was an impossible dream, but like that was my dream. Even though I wasn't like, oh, make that happen. Like I knew that wouldn't be possible. And what did Jezzel do when I said that? Jezzel is quite an actress, I learned in this moment. She literally gets so sad to the point of like tearing up and is like, why would you like say that? Now whatever I do is not gonna be your dream. I'm like backtracking like, oh no, I mean like it'd be cool, but like I just want like what you want. Jezzel is like just doing a wonderful job at throwing me off. So I was not expecting that she would actually propose there at all. So she comes back up from her meeting. I'm like, okay, like the sun's out. I guess we can go to dinner and eat inside. Like it'll be fine, you know? So we're like getting ready. This was not like the outfit I would have worn if I knew I was getting engaged. Like it's fine. I don't care. It's just funny. Like I was so clueless to the point like my dress was so wrinkly from being in the bag and I was like, should I steam it? And Jezzel was like, oh, like maybe. And I was like, no. Jezzel was like, I wasn't trying to like push you too hard to like, you know, get ready. Like I wanted it to be a surprise. So then we go down for our dinner reservation and I am stopping like everyone to take a photo. I'm like, can you take a photo of us? Like, can you take a photo? Like I wanted options, you know? And Jezzel is just like rushing us. And I'm like, can you calm down? Oh, and earlier when we were checking in and I was eating this cheese plate, she was like, maybe like don't eat it all. Like maybe like save some room. And I'm like, don't tell me what I can't eat. Like, so then I was just like eating it all. So we finally get to the restaurant and we go to check in at El Olivo. And there is this man there that unbeknownst to me is the man Jezzel has been like working on all of this with. I tell him like, oh, we have a reservation at 7. And he like puts out his arm to like escort me to the table, which I'm thinking nothing of because this place is bougie. So I'm like, all right, like we got an escort, like come on Jezzel. And this is the part where we start having video footage because I just remember this is where it clicked for me as we're walking in and he's like, I'm realizing it visually at the same time of like what he's saying to me. It's just like all clicking at once. So it wasn't like he spoiled it, but he's saying to me something about like every day can turn around or something like the rain, you know? And he's like, and maybe today can be the best day. And I'm like, oh yeah, I hope so. Like as he's like leading us to the only table that is set out there.
Well, I think, you know, every day can be better. And maybe today can be the best of the better days. Hope you enjoy it.
And as we're sitting, I'm like looking around and I'm like, whoa, is this like it? Like, is this happening? Like, I'm seeing like the flowers on the table and it's like clicking for me, like you're getting engaged. Like Jezzel is proposing. My heart is racing. We sit, I'm just like looking at Jezzel like, can you like give me a signal? Like this is happening right now, right? Like, and then Jezzel pulls out of her purse this book that she made. It was a bunch of photos of like our relationship and I'm like going through it as she's like starting to give kind of her like speech, you know, like the proposal speech. I don't even remember what she said to be honest. And I'm like trying to like listen and go through this book and I'm like, maybe I'll just go through the book later and I just like give it back to her because it's clear that like this is happening. Like she was like so nervous. I remember I was even like, slow down, like calm down, it's fine. Like we both just had so much excited like nervous energy that I feel like we were both like, what do we do? What's happening? But Jezzel's like, just flip to the last page. Like the last page is important. So I go to the last page, which I'm not gonna show because it like shows our house in it, but Jezzel had gone around to where I lived when we met, where she lived when we met, our first house together, and then here where we live now, and outside had like a poster and took a photo of each one that said, will you marry me, on the last page. And like at the same point she like stands up, or maybe I was already standing. It is such a blur, you guys. Like I know everyone says that, but like it's like I just like blacked out in the moment. Like I don't know who that girl was that was, I don't know what I said, I don't know what I did. Like I was in true shock. But Jezzel got down on one knee and then the guy rushed over with the pillow because like this place is bougie, like no knees on the ground here.
Thank you. Will you marry me?
I just remember like as this was going down, I just kept saying over and over, I was like, is this happening? Like, is this it? Like, cause for some reason my brain, like I was thinking, because Jezzel had fooled me so hard when I had said this was my dream the other day, that I'm now thinking like, because I said that was my dream, she like threw this together in the past like 48 hours and like she doesn't even have the rings with her. Like this is just like a part 1 proposal so that it could like be my dream, but really she's gonna propose at home. Like I am in shock that like this was the real plan. I'm also like, is there someone getting this? Like is there a photographer? Like I'm just like, you know, asking so many questions and she's probably like, shut up and say yes.
Did you? Yes. My knees are shaking.
I said yes, and there was a photographer and videographer, a lovely couple. They were so sweet. Got just like amazing photos and videos. So again, well done to Jezzel that she just like, she found them, she put together just so many details.
We looked at wedding venues
today. you know, we had our moment that, again, I was just like blacked out for. There was a waiter coming over and giving us like, you know, caviar bites, like these little apps and champagne. We like pop champagne. He was telling us what the food is, and I just remember like blank staring at it, like not a thought in my brain. Like I cannot comprehend what is going on right now. Everybody like gave us our moment out there just by ourselves, and it was just such a special moment. Like I have never been so surprised in my life. Everyone I know knows how hard I am to surprise, so that was like the first thing everybody asked was like, were you surprised? And I was like, yes. And I don't know, everybody is just like giving so much kudos to Jezzel for like being able to pull off surprising me. So after we enjoy our little moment on the terrace, we go up with the photographers and just like walk around and take some pics and video. So in the clip or the video I posted on Instagram and TikTok of like the proposal where you see us like walking in, that was actually a shot after the fact. Like where the video started like in real life was like me walking in, so there weren't like people giving it away as we're walking in, if that makes sense. And so then we wrap that up, and I'm then thinking like, all right, now we're going to dinner at El Olivo inside, like let's go to dinner. So we're like walking up to dinner, and then it was like part 2 of the surprise, which again like wouldn't have happened if this whole thing was just happening in that other location. Not that this was like essential, but it was just so fun to like get surprised twice. So we like walk up to our dinner and we like go through the restaurant, and then I'm like, where are we going? So we like walk onto this terrace, again like a private area, because we didn't actually eat at El Olivo like down there, which was fine because this was like private, like there weren't people walking through, like it was just like ours. Jezzel had arranged a private dinner up there where we had a guitarist, and like there were like rose petals that were like on the whole pathway. We had a private chef up there like cooking, which I mean, I didn't even give it much attention. On any other night, I would have been like all up in it, but I was, again, in total shock. But like she was cooking all of our meal just like right out there. We had like our own waiter and so many courses of delicious food that like I couldn't even eat all of because I was stuffed from this freaking cheese, and so much wine. Oh my God, never thought I'd see the day. We could not finish the wine. It was like, I want to say 3 or 4 different kinds throughout the night that were like pairings, which pairings I would think was like a glass, you know, but it was like, we got a whole bottle of like each one. And then at the very end of the night, they brought out these like sunset shots because they were like, you didn't get to see the sunset. So we like made a sunset little shot thing. And I was like, I can't do it. Like I'm on the verge of like, I've had too much to eat. And so I took this funny video of Jezzel doing it where I was like, no, you're gonna throw up. Don't do it.
Cheers to engagement.
Oh my God.
You can't take both, not both. Jezzel, oh my God. What's wrong with you? You're gonna throw up. What's in the
But where we had dinner, it was just like that same beautiful view from El Olivo. This was basically just like upstairs and over a little bit. I don't know how to describe it. It was just like the happiest, like best feeling of my entire life was just like that whole night. Being on the surprised end of it was just like, has never been done before, truly, for myself. Jezzel just knows me so well that she literally did exactly what was my dream, but like I'd never even told her that until 2 days before. What is also so funny is I guess previously, so when we were planning our like Europe trip, we originally were going to go to Sicily to stay at the Belmond there, and I saw this like photo once and I said to her like, oh, how pretty would it be to like get engaged there, like just like a one-off comment. And I guess she like fully reached out to them and like planned the whole thing to get engaged right there. And then I was like, you know, let's actually not go to Sicily, let's go somewhere else. So then Jezzel was like, just kidding. Like, I guess the whole time she was talking to my best friend Caroline, being like, Morgan will not book this trip. Like, but it worked out because then she had them put Jezzel in touch with the people at the other Belmond property. It just all worked out perfectly. And what is also like so funny that I've saved for now, because I feel like it almost goes against me saying how shocked I was, but I had so many moments throughout that day where I just thought to myself, like, maybe she's doing it tonight. But it was more like a hope, you know, like, again, because that was like truly like my dream. So it was like, I would hope, or I was looking for things to be like, maybe she's doing it tonight. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe this lines up. But like, realistically, I 100% did not think she was doing it then. So I kept being like, Morgan, like chill, like talking myself out of it because I knew it wasn't happening. To the point of like, before we went on our trip, I know where we've like kept the rings from when we bought them. I almost checked like the morning of leaving our trip. I almost checked just to be like, because again, I was so certain she wasn't proposing on this trip that I thought like, I'm gonna look in this box and the rings are gonna be there, you know, which thank God I did not. But during like the day of the proposal, like I remember we woke up that morning and Jezzel was like, or we were in the car going to tour venues, and she said something about like, today is gonna be a great day. Like we're not gonna, I don't know, it's just something about how that today was gonna be like a fully great day and whatever. And I was like, interesting, why would you say that? Are you proposing? Like I think I even took a video in the car. I didn't want to be too obvious, you know, but like, so you probably can't even tell, but it was like this one little like sneaky look, because I was like, is she proposing tonight? But on the torrential storm there, I was like, whoa, well, thank God, like she's not. And I even said to her in the car, I was like, well, good thing you're not proposing tonight, because like, look at the weather, you know? And she's probably inside like, good thing. But I even thought about it when we were getting ready, like when I thought about like, should I steam my dress? Should I straighten my hair? And I was thinking like, do I think she's proposing tonight? Like that's actually why I straightened my hair. I was like, well, maybe she's proposing tonight. Like maybe I should just do it, even though I was so sure she wasn't. Like that's what like I can't like make sense of in my brain. Like I just kept like getting these like hunches, but it was more like my hopes, you know? But it's so weird because like with that, as we were getting ready, I had this moment where I was like looking at myself in the mirror, like right before we were about to go downstairs. And I like said to myself in the mirror, I was like, your gut is never wrong. Like I like said that in my mind. But then at the same time, I still didn't think it was happening. So I don't know how to reconcile all of that or if that makes any sense. It was just the best proposal. Again, literally my dream. And if it were not for all of those like bad or unexpected circumstances happening, like it wouldn't have happened that way. And it just, yeah, was the most amazing day, like the most significant moment of my life to this point. After the dinner, we went back to our beautiful hotel room and got to soak that up all of the next day. Kind of like rained again in the morning. We had this like little private plunge pool. So we just like chilled in there, and like it was kind of drizzling and it was just like beautiful. My best friend Caroline had surprised us with kava and like a card that was sent to the room, which was so thoughtful. And we didn't really tell anyone, or I think Jezzel told friends, or maybe not. I told my family and Caroline, and that was like it for like 2 or 3 days, or I think like 2 days. That was something I was really happy with, was like not feeling the need to like FaceTime everybody that night or like call everybody the next day. Like I gave it some time and like kind of told people in waves, because even like with doing that, it was still like a little overwhelming of like, you know, wanting to get back to everyone because everyone's so excited. Also at the same time, not wanting to be on my phone tons. I want to like be soaking up this moment with my new fiance. So I almost could have like waited even longer, but people knew that it was happening. So everybody's kind of like, did it happen? Like what's going on? Like waiting for the update. That also is something that I'm glad worked out the way it did by Jezzel proposing on our trip, was that we had an engagement party a few days after we got back, like literally 2 days later. Like talk about jet lag. Caroline actually surprised me by coming to town, and it was just a beautiful night with a bunch of our close friends. And originally we had always talked about like, because I thought Jezzel was getting engaged locally that day where she went out to take all those photos at all of our houses. I knew she was doing an errand related to our engagement, so I wasn't allowed to check her location. And so I'm thinking she's like having a meeting with whatever venue she's proposing at locally, you know, like that was always what I thought, was like, we'll probably get engaged in Malibu or something. So the plan was always that after our engagement here, we were then gonna go straight to an engagement party with our friends. And I'm just really glad that it worked out to do these things like farther apart, because I feel like that would have been just like so much for me like that night. I'm glad that we did get to just like soak it up by ourselves. And then of course the next day after we left the Belmond, we went back to our original hotel, where then all of the staff could be like, you're engaged, because like obviously everybody knew but me. Just like everybody was just like so excited and like gave us more kava. I've had enough kava for like the rest of my life, I think. But then we like continued our trip to go to Portugal, and then of course came back home. I did want to wrap this up because I know it's already so long. I was gonna answer more questions. I think I'll do a separate like wedding Q&A or like relationship or engagement Q&A. So if you have any questions for that, you can leave them here. So I'm actually not gonna talk about anything wedding planning right now, but a couple of questions I was getting a lot. How did I know to have Jezzel's ring on the trip? And my answer to that is that Jezzel had her ring on the trip, because I feel like this is not like common for straight couples, or at least like my close friends. It's always like they don't even tell their partner like what kind of ring they want. They like, you know, save it to the Pinterest board, or like have their friend tell them, or like there's no like, again, from my close friends, not a lot of like direct just telling your partner what you want, which to me is just like wild, because that's not what we did at all. Like you guys might remember, I think it was like last fall, it was almost a year ago, we went ring shopping and showed it in the video, and we actually bought those rings, like in the thumbnail, everything. Those are the rings we bought, but I didn't want to say we bought it because I didn't want like people being on my back about like, when are you getting engaged? Like I've said that so many times, and I've actually led you guys astray by saying that I didn't think we were gonna get engaged this year at all, because, and for you guys to not like ask me about it, because I actually did think I was gonna get engaged this year, and I didn't want people like just like saying it about everything we're going to, like this is gonna be it, this is gonna be it. So I intentionally said like, we're getting engaged next year, and no one said to me anything about like, I think you're gonna get engaged this trip. So like, thank you all for that. I don't know why, I just didn't want like the outside noise in my moment, you know? But yeah, that day in that vlog, we bought our rings. Ever since then, they've been in a box. We've tried them on a couple times since then. So they were like not any kind of surprise, but Jezzel, like the plan always was that whenever Jezzel went to propose, she would bring both rings and then like we'd both just start wearing them from there. So that was like, the other question related to that was, did I propose back? So if you're not aware, a good amount of lesbian couples, I feel like one person proposes and then the other person like proposes back at a later date. And I think I've answered this in a Q&A before, so people asking this did not keep up with the videos. I didn't feel strongly about proposing and Jezzel didn't feel strongly about getting proposed to, so we had also always talked about that, and I was never gonna propose back. Like we wanted it to be like our one big moment where like she proposes and we get engaged, the end. Are you good, Mia? That brings me to the end of this video. Again, I hope it's like fun to watch my Mallorca vlog, like seeing how in the dark I am now. I'm so excited for this next chapter of life with Jezzel. I do have so many wedding planning thoughts, starting with, do I even want a wedding? But we'll save that for another day. Thank you guys so much for sharing in all the excitement with us, and I will see you in my next video.